And what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Cyberspace PC with your host Scott, and it is still day one of the 3080 release, September 17th. I was on at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would have been 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and there were no cards available. Best Buy, the website was basically crashed for the 3080 search. Amazon had absolutely no stock at all. It said coming soon for all the cards. Lastly, the place I looked at was Newegg, and the website went down after it coincided with the launch. The website went down. So, we're hearing that some scalpers with bots, basically programs designed to go in and buy up all the stock, were active today, along with mostly people looking to buy and resell it, called scalpers. Got pretty much most of the stock today. Nobody knows anybody who got one. I think Paul from Not an Apple Fan said he got an order in, but he doesn't know if it'll actually go through. Of course, all the reviewers that had sample reviews sent to them got to show us some of the benchmarks today. Interestingly enough, I think the one I like the best so far is over at Joker Productions. He's got a side-by-side comparison between the 3080 founders versus the 2080 Ti founders. And watching through the comparison, it looks like the 3080 is a good 20 to 30% faster, both with rasterization and with the ray tracing turned on for both cards. Some of the games, have ray tracing enabled. Other games like The Division 2, which don't have that feature. So it's kind of a nice mix of games with and without. None of the games had DLSS on, but it looks like it's a good 20 to 30% faster, which NVIDIA said it was. So that's definitely good news, since the 2080 was basically no faster, maybe a few percentage points than the 1080 Ti. So it's nice to see that we're back on track with an 80 card that's actually a good bit faster than a Ti, and obviously at a much lower price point, which it should be. The only fly in the ointment that I could see at this point is that 10 gigabytes of VRAM. It looks like Doom Eternal with Ultra Nightmare settings takes 9 gigabytes of VRAM to run. So if you've got a 2080, if you've got a 5700 XT, you're playing 4K, it's going to bottleneck the card. So what that means moving forward, and Steve from Hardware Unboxed touched on this in a recent video, you might be looking at as early as next year or the year after with the 3080 being bottlenecked with only 10 gigabytes of VRAM. My question is Cyberpunk 2077 going to bottleneck the 3080 with ultra settings at 4K? If I had to make a wild guess, I would say that it's either going to come right up to the 10 gigabytes frame buffer or possibly exceed it a little bit, which is going to hurt frames. Now, some people might argue that the game is going to be too intense for the 3080 to run it at 4K Ultra anyway, but it's just a little bit disappointing that they didn't give us 11 gigabytes like the 2080 Ti and the 1080 Ti, or go on up to the 12 gigabytes. It's a high-end card. $700 is a high-end price. For some of the aftermarket cards, you're looking at $749, $800 and on up. So I think that we really should have expected either a little bit higher price with a little bit more VRAM, or just giving us another gigabyte or two of VRAM at that launch. Otherwise, the card looks like an absolute beast. I don't think people are going to have too many other complaints besides that. I know some people question its 1440p performance versus the 2080, but people are going towards 4K more and more, so I just don't see that being a major concern, that it's not quite as fast, relative to the 2080 at 1440p like some people would like. They point out that the gap between the 2080 and the 3080 is bigger at 4K than 1440p, but probably some of that is just due to the fact that the 2080 was never truly meant to be a 4K card anyway. So in summary, a lot of people are disappointed that they didn't get their hands on a 3080 day one. This is not unusual after especially a 2-year period of cards being released from NVIDIA. You've got 2 years of demand pent up. You've got people that couldn't afford a 2080 Ti that see something at a much more affordable price point going hard at it. You've got scalpers looking to make money, and there was just no way that supply was going to meet demand day one. So I question some of the people that say that NVIDIA has schemed this. And keep in mind that the first few months, the first year of card production is the most important, the most expensive for any manufacturer, because the cost up front is obviously going to be a lot more right now than it is 6 months from now, after Samsung's put out millions of these dies. So keep that in mind. It's day one. I'm sure if you put an order at NVIDIA or one of the other retailers, you will get notified when something comes available, just like it was with the 2080 and 2080 Ti, etc., which weren't widely available day one to my knowledge. And the 10 gigabytes of VRAM, that is mildly disappointing, and I really wouldn't be surprised if some people don't go ahead and wait for Big Navi to launch, just to so they can get a comparison of what they're going to get as far as the VRAM goes. So if you enjoy this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment down below about what you think about the 3080 launch. Are you happy with the performance relative to the 2080 Ti? Is 10 gigabytes of VRAM enough for you? Or does it make you maybe hesitate in ordering the card? I know for me it gives me a little bit of pause. Of course, I'm pretty sure that if you purchase a 3080 and maybe another card with more VRAM, maybe a 3080 Ti or a 20 gigabyte 3080 variant comes along, you could probably sell it for pretty much what you're putting into it. Of course, that can always be a little sketchy with people. You never know if they're going to pull any shenanigans when you're selling a card. I've mostly had good experiences with that. I've only purchased one card that was absolutely dead upon arrival on eBay, but by and large, my experience is people are fairly honest when they're dealing in cards. I don't want to get ripped off, so I'm not really looking to rip somebody else off, but let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day and happy hunting for cards. Until the next one, we'll catch you in the next video.